Welcome to Resilience. I'm John Biggs. Today we have Murat Isik. He's the CEO and co-founder of NoahLabs.ai. Welcome, Murat. So tell us about Noah Labs.
Yep. So we are NoahLabs building the AI native ID for government and regulated industry. You can imagine us cursor for regulated industry, helping people for code generation, daily tasking, speeding up to the process. And thanks for having me in this podcast.
So this is an interesting concept. So these are basically, they're basically models that you keep behind a firewall that the organization has complete control of, right? So this could be government, this could be military, this could be federal, this could be any number of clients, but this is just stuff that you want to make sure that is not available to the public. And also because you're focused on governments, military, it's going to be more secure. Is that the goal?
Yeah, that's totally correct explanation. Actually, we started this problem with code modernization, legacy code optimization, because governments, defense, banking, all the regulated industry have a bunch of the code bases, legacy code bases, and we were modernizing from COBOL to Java, C to Rust, Python to CUDA, and we saw that they are not able to use the cloud native platforms due to their kind of work culture, and even they work with the local LLMs. They are receiving a kind of a super small amount of the accuracy. So that's why we started to build the Sentinel, and right now actively working with the Lockheed and Stanford Federal Credit Union. Those are our early stage backers, and yeah, so that's the kind of a story we build it with them.
What does the hardware build out look like? How do I host this if I'm, I don't know, if I'm a bank or if I'm a government?
So typically we prefer to ask them to have kind of a server because we do the on-prem deployment. We don't have any access out of the company, and also they might need to have something like 800 powerful GPUs to support this platform. That's why we are targeting for medium to big size of the companies. But also we learned from the Stanford Federal Credit Union, if they don't have any infrastructure, we are happy to provide some of our compute resources through the Lambda Labs, US compute residency, US data residency. Those are something super important for us. And yeah, that's the kind of a hardware standpoint. We don't touch to the hardware as much as we can. We don't prefer to do that.
That's an interesting point. So you're basically dealing with, like, to make a good LLM, you need 800 GPUs, which is probably at this point like 800, almost $1 million, right? Something like that. So that sounds like quite an installation.
Yeah. That's probably. That's kind of a wrong information people have. So there are a bunch of the GPU cloud providers like Lambda Labs, Nebius, Google Cloud Computing, Microsoft Azure, AWS. So they have kind of a offering and you can rent the GPUs instead of buying them. So that gives them kind of a support. And most of the big companies like Lockheed or BAE, Boeing, or any banking companies we can count like JP Morgan, HSBC Bank, they have their own resources. They have their own servers and infrastructure. So I think it's not a big deal for them to have those GPUs. Of course, there is a kind of a GPU backlog nowadays. Everyone is trained to their models. It's super hard to get the instance super fast. So you might need to wait a couple of minutes, couple of hours, but you will make it.
When it comes to government or military clients, what are some of the ramifications there? How do you have to build that out?
Yeah, so typically they don't. So from the government level, we are speaking with the DARPA DAU, and so we haven't done any deployment yet, but we work with the government contractors so far. They have their own way. So basically, you need to package your software, upload it to their system, and then download it and then start using it. So from the government level, especially like military organizations, they have some specific openings like SBIR, STTR, where they are searching for the specific stakeholders or partners to solve their problems. So you need to apply for SBIR, of course, not yourself, with some of the partners, and then get into the project, and then the process will start for you. From my previous company, we had a SBIR, and through the SBIR, we had a chance to work with the Air Force, because Air Force is one of the tech-savvy organization from the government level, and they were interested for the foundational models for their specific agentic solution. And yeah, so that's the kind of a process we do follow. And working with the government is best way to get to those government contracts. Otherwise, it's hard to build up to that relationship.
What does if I want a completely on-premises solution, what does that cost? What does that look like?
Yeah, so right now we typically cost $10,000 installation fee and $3,000 per seat per user. And optionally, we are providing the private compute if they are interested.
But if I wanted to install everything myself, I would have to basically say, "This is my server farm. Put everything in there." Right?
Yep, that's true.
Okay. What is it like getting funding right now? I mean, obviously you guys are in a hot space.
Yeah.
What's the funding world look like?
Yeah, so far I bootstrapped my company because from the previous startup, I did a post-seed exit. I sold some of my shares. So I bootstrapped it so far and received a couple of the angel investors as a strategic investor. They put like almost $50,000. And for the fundraising, we are raising $2 million at 20 million valuation. $100,000 is already committed to one of the airlines company. So I believe airlines has bunch of the opportunities for us to modernize, especially flight controller, flight simulators. Besides, I'm also searching for the another 1.5. But since we are in around the Stanford and also kind of a Silicon Valley vibe, I am not super concerned. We are mostly focused for our customers and make them happy, and then go to the next customer.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I mean, you already kind of touched on that, but what's next for the company?
So right now, what we are focusing on, autonomous software operator, it will be our next gen product. Of course, we are selling the Sentinel. That's the first priority. Our business team is super focused on that. But meanwhile, we are developing our next generation product, which is going to be autonomous software operator. We didn't name it yet, but hopefully it will be one of our previous history name as well. So for the ASO, what I want to build up, John, I want to build up the open cloud version for the regulated industry. 10 agents, you give a prompt and get the project completed, no human intervention. So from that project, of course, we need to find some of the high quality rich data, because today model capability is not the biggest problem. Biggest problem is the data handling and data processing for your models and how you are going to train them. So for the ASO, we are basically using the open source GitHub repositories. But meanwhile, we are working with a bunch of the partners to train the R models. Today, I'm able to reach out like 60-70% intelligence rate, but till August, we are targeting to go above 90 at least. So then put it to the market. That will be something super interesting. And we are applying to our PhD knowledge into this project. And after the ASO, I want to go to the battlefield and deploy our technology. I don't know. I have great examples like Palantir, Neros. So they show the kind of interest from the battlefield and how warfighters are using their product. And I have a couple of the specific targets like Aegis combat system from Navy and also Army software factory from the Army level integration. So if we can be battlefield validated, I think that's kind of a dream I have at NoahLabs.
Very cool. Well, thank you for this. This has been a nice rundown of NoahLabs.
I really appreciate it. Thank you
All
so
right.
much, John.
This has been the Innovators. I'm John Biggs. We'll see you next time.